Peace and love. What up? How y'all doing today? Today I really have nothing to talk about. 100% just came on here to just share some love. I just want to tell y'all I love y'all. Real talk. I love myself, but I love y'all. Has anyone told you that today? And if they didn't, I'm here to say that, man. Everyone's going through their own things in their own way, right? Everyone's got their own things that they're dealing with. And sometimes it's good to just have someone stop by and just say they love you. Not because you did anything for them, not because you're around them, nothing like that. Just stop in here and say, I love y'all just because I know everyone's going through something in their life. And everyone got strength. Everyone who's here, if you're watching this, you got strength. You strong. 'Cause I am strong, right? And if you are me, then we're both strong. Whatever you're going through, don't be afraid to share it. Don't be afraid to let people know what you're going through. Because you let people know what you're going through, you never know who you're going to be able to help with your life. We're all fractals, man. It's crazy. We live in this fractal existence. We talk about puzzles, right? Talk about everyone looking for the missing piece. Tell us about the tropical experience. I love myself and I agree. Oh, the tropical experience, man. All right. We'll talk about the tropical experience then. The tropics is like nothing you've ever imagined. The tropics is abundance in one space. The tropics is real. Out here's not real. That's why I think I was sent back here. Because you get to a point where you need to compare and contrast. And compared to real life, right? To a spot where like you don't have to be at war. And when I say that, like you don't have to put on a shirt. You don't have to put on shoes. You don't have to put on a jacket ever if you don't want to, right? We come out here, you become at war with the elements. You become at war with nature. And that's what causes people to have this notion that they do up here. That's why people who live north of the tropics live so against nature, right? Because this is the only place where you have to be at war with nature because you're out of your natural habitat. So you have to do things that are unnatural. So the natural spillover is not real, right? So all you're doing is creating a displacement when you do this, right? Like when I was in the tropics, man, I was walking around no shoes, no shirt, always, right? Every morning you wake up with the sun because the sun wakes you up because it's heat. Like you're in your tent and you can't be asleep anymore. The sun wakes you up. Right? I wake up every morning. I go to the beach and just sit right by the waves and just watch and just feel the sun right away. Now, as far as your travels, like when you dream something beautiful in the tropics. You dream something amazing. Because in the like when you're in the tropics, especially for people who know what the tropics is, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people who think of the tropics as just like a destination. It's a destination, but people who really know what the tropics is, your mind is so free because everything you're in touch with, you're in tune with. And it's so easy. You never have to worry about it being cold out. You never have to worry about these things. We take for granted how much that we actually have to close ourselves off from the environment. If you're closing yourself off to the environment, you're closing yourself off to things mentally. You're naturally in a space of judgment all the time. You're naturally in a space of denying yourself you, right? It's crazy because like up here, I'll go into a store with no shoes on and they'll kick me out of the store. Right? I'll go into a store with no shoes on, they'll kick me out of the store. But in the tropics, you could go anywhere, no shoes on, no shirt on. They don't care. They do not care. But that's real. Like that's real life. Real life is being in tune with the elements. Like you never have to worry. Now, as far as like food, man, food is in abundance. Leafy, they have katuk. They have so many cacao. Like we talk about chocolate out here, man. And you have cacao just standing, just staring at you. You walk through any bit of woods, There's cacao, there's banana trees everywhere in abundance. That's the only way to realize and understand what's really free. When you get down in a tropical environment, you understand what's really free because you don't have to close off to anything. The people who are there, when you're looking at, even you look at a woman, right? You look at a woman, she's in her more of her natural clothing, right? She's not hiding things. Out here, there's this thing where you gotta hide. Like everyone's trying to hide, everyone's trying to be. That's why you get this sneakiness out here. You can't really hide out there, right? People's cribs, like they're outside. People are living like they have smaller houses, but everything's more outside. Like you could just walk up onto someone's like into someone's living room. Like literally walk up into someone's living room because there's no real like doors like that. Like it's a whole different mentality. The way that people live is so much more open. That's why you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to know who you are down there, right? The problem that people run into is when they get in the tropics and when people head to the tropics is that you're so free, right? You're so free. There's everything is in abundance. Everything. If you're looking for mushrooms, mushrooms are in abundance. If you're looking for weed, weed is in abundance. If you're looking for fruit, fruit is in abundance. If you're looking for alcohol, alcohol is in abundance. Cheap, but everything's less expensive. So you go down there, you don't have your mind right and your mindset and your principles set, you could go down there and you could get swept up. And that's what people don't understand is that you gotta, here is a place to conquer your demons. Put them to bed. Put them to sleep. Because when you get out to the tropics, you want to live free of all of that, all those attachments, because those are attachments too. Those are attachments too, because everyone's here attached to these things to help them get through, right? Because they're never fully there. You're never fully you here, right? Like if you got to wear clothes, you're wearing clothes as a way to express you, but it's not you. You feel me? Like your skin is you, right? My skin is me. This thing that I wear over me is something that I'm using to replace me. It's unnatural still, though. It's not real, right? We got to start to get that. In the tropics, you don't have, like, when you get in your right environment, you're in your space, you could be naked all day. Like, I think about myself, my privates never touched the sun really before till I got there. Every time I was up here, I had to hide myself, man. I'm not from a place where I had a backyard and I had shit that was closed off and things like that. I was always embarrassed, man. I was like nervous. I have nothing really to be embarrassed about, but the mentality made me worried. Like I felt like my private parts. There's no such thing as a private part. There's no such thing as a private part. Why are we ashamed of something that we all naturally have? Right? Like I was always told like by my mom, like she didn't want me to walk around naked at the crib or anything like that. Right? Once I got past a certain age. And it made me feel like embarrassed about myself. That's not her fault, you know what I mean? Because everyone goes through those things. Like everyone's parents has these programs. Everyone has these programs where we're embarrassed of our own bodies. We gotta shade ourselves from things. Right? And once you get into that environment and when you detach out here and you go into a new environment, you got none of that on you. So now it's time for you to create you and allow you to be in touch and in tune. My like intuition went up. My intuition was on a whole new level because it was so much more free. Right? Free. You could walk into places and people weren't always trying to like shade you. Out here, people try and salt you all the time. Right? Like I'll walk around in a sarong and I'll walk out into like a public place. I'll walk into like a market or something, and people are salting me. They'll look at me like this. They'll give me all these looks and they'll ask me why I'm doing that. Right? But in the tropics, you can walk around in a sarong. No one says a word to you. They don't care because everyone down there is about their business. They're just because they've seen it all in a sense. Out here, we create taboos. We create so many taboos down there. There's not as many taboos as there are up here because people are more in tune with the way they do things. Like every person knows how to open up a coconut for real, like real talk. Like you just go on the beach, like at first there was like a learning curve, like open up a coconut. Man, I'm sitting there trying to crack it open. I'm hacking at it. Some dude just walks up to me, and goes, "Yo, come here, come here." Don't even speak English. He shows me how to open up a coconut. I never had to worry about that again, right? But you got people who are going. People thought that we were like we were from there because we would just go like I'd go and grab a stalk of bamboo cut a quick stalk of bamboo, and you go to the tree. You just knock down coconuts every day. Every day you live in abundance. Every day there's coconuts everywhere, papaya trees everywhere. I'd be walking down the street. There's star fruit trees, right? All these beautiful things just everywhere, just waiting for you to tap into it. And the people there, they had no clue. Like they were so many of the people there are so caught up in the Babylon thing. They think they're poor because they're waiting to try and buy meat. Everyone needs rice. Everyone needs meat. Everyone, that's like what they're trying to do, right? But fruit is everywhere. Fruit's just like, damn, you're like, what the fuck? I was finding people. I was with some of the natives, and they were showing me these fruits like that I didn't even know were fruits. I was like, damn. I was like, what the heck? Like we would see, like, you know, up here we got berry bushes that if you eat the berries, like you get poisoned and sick. Like there's very few things like that down there. There are some trees you gotta watch out for, like how much of it you eat or like what it is that you eat, but like not like up here. Like where I'm at, I'm in the Northeast, man. I be going some places and there be berries that look good. I'm like, oh shit, I want to eat those. I look them up. It's like those are poisonous. Like what? What? How are you gonna trick me like this out here? Right? But down there, it's like natural food is abundant. Papaya everywhere, mango trees, avocado trees, all that. And you could stay wherever you want. They do all these things to scare you. Like they do these things to scare you. If you're moving in a tribe, you're moving in a crew, and you guys got tents, no one's fucking with you. No one's fucking with you. You got a machete, you're good. Everyone got machetes and tents, you're good. No one's gonna mess with you because no one really wants that smoke. Because if you're over there living in a tent, they don't see you as like a wealthy person, right? Out here, they be seeing you like if I was sleeping in a tent out here, a lot of people wouldn't fuck with me because they think I'm poor. Same thing down there. They don't think you got money. They want the people who are look like they're always eating at restaurants. And if you walk around like that and you get caught up by yourself, that's different. But we were staying in tents, yo. I wasn't bathing. Like I bathed in the river. I was bathing in the ocean. Like you didn't see me where I wasn't wearing fresh darb. I wasn't out here wearing these like long ass jeans and all that stuff. Not me. I was there in a sarong. Like that's life. We were like out here. You worry about so many different things, man. You're worried about shoes. You got people talking to you about shoes. Most of the people down there are never wearing shoes, bro. You could go around walking around with no shoes all day. You'll not catch flack from one person. Out here, you walk around with no shoes, people look at you like unsanitary. Right? You can walk around with no shoes and be like, damn, you're unsanitary. Knowing that shoes track in just as much dirt, if not more, than bare feet. But if you walk in somewhere barefoot, they're gonna come at you. You walk somewhere with no shirt, it's like they look at you like there's something wrong. Like there's something you need to cover up. Why do we need to cover up so much? That's the difference between out here and in the tropics, man. No, you get to be natural down there. You get to be natural. Here, there's so many societal structures. It's matrices. That's what they mean. That's a thought matrix, a thought construct to make you feel ashamed of what's natural. How can I be in my natural skin and be ashamed of what is? And wear clothes to cover up my natural skin when nothing else does. And we like to think that because we're humans, right? Like we've developed like that's a mentality that's like superior, right? But what does that create? Like, look at the way we look at the female body. Look at the way we process the female's body. And tell me if that's a supreme being. A woman's chest is mammary glands. Mammary glands. That's to give life. That's to feed, right? But we make a woman cover up her chest because we can't handle it. Other people can't handle it. Now they have to feel ashamed and embarrassed about themselves. Is that making them being supreme? Is that making any woman supreme? Feel supreme? Is every woman reaching her peaks as a female by that construct of thought? No, but then you got other women who just fall into it. They fall into the construct and they don't think about it, and they'll shame other women for doing that. They'll shame other women who show themselves off, who are bold enough to do it, to keep them in that box. We have to be awake, man. Like there's no thing that should be natural on your body that you should hide. Does a dog ever worry about its penis being out? Right? When a dog's laying on its back, does it like close its legs? Right? It's natural. Right? We got to start to understand there's a difference between natural and there's a difference between lust. There's a difference between natural and unnatural. Natural, unnatural. We just embrace unnatural. Like I'll fuck with someone, I'll fuck with a girl who covers up her nipples but shows a deep, deep, deep V shirt, right? She's showing mad cleavage but covering her nipples. That's okay, right? But a woman can be breastfeeding her baby and then people are telling her to cover up. What? What kind of sick construct is that? And we wonder why so many people are on prescription drugs. We wonder why so many people have repressed emotion. We wonder why so many people are repressing and not afraid of being who they are, afraid of showing who they are. When your whole life you're being felt to feel ashamed for being naturally you, what you came here with, right? What I was born with, right? I was born with this. I couldn't help what this looked like, right? Like I think about like I was born from like a lot of Catholic construct, right? So I was circumcised. I'm looking at like I look down as just like, yo, I was cut up. Then people will say like, oh, it's because the foreskin. There's like you gotta clean it and you gotta. It might smell like who who says what smell is? People be telling people that they smell. I think people who wear perfume smell. I think people who wear secret deodorant smell. I think people who wash their bodies with shit that has chemicals in it that's bad for them smell. Right? I think those people smell. You as a natural person, you trying to tell someone who just smells like them they smell? What does that mean, yo? That just doesn't make sense. We'll embrace something unnatural before we accept something natural. That's why most of the people who ever spoke real truth in the world, in any sense, those are the ones who get shamed, right? Because you have people out here who don't know how to accept natural, right? If you grow your beard out, everyone tells you to cut it, right? And you ask them why, it's like for your own sake. Why? For what's that mean? What does it mean, right? You go out there and you smell like you. Like what do you smell like? You smell like bo. No, I smell like me, right? I smell like me. I don't go up in showers with chlorine and fluoride. I know what chlorine and fluoride does to my body. I don't hop up in there, right? I don't hop up in something called tap water. Because what the fuck is tap water? Right? There's water and then there's tap water. It's its own brand of water. That's why we can't just call it water. Right? So why am I gonna talk about a certain brand of water? People are gonna worry about how you smell. If you smell like you. If you're not trying to hide, why am I masking my smell? And then you gotta think about it, why do you smell so bad? If you're someone who smells so bad, like and you smell it, you're like, damn, that smells unnatural. It's probably because you're eating something unnatural. Right? Because if you actually look in, if we stop being surface dwellers and we dive in deep and you start figuring that out, you figure out that a lot of the things you smell like is karma from the things you put in your body. People will be like, damn, shit stinks. No, shit smells like shit. Real talk. Like some people, but when you eat disgusting shit, your shit will smell worse. But poop smells like poop. So then we go in and we cover it with Glade. We cover it with all these things. That shit stinks. When you look at the chemicals in those things, they're not good for your body. A lot of them have hormone disruptors in it. That's not good for you. Get to the tropics, right? Do you know what's good with the sun? Do we know what the UV spectrum is? I got people up here complaining to me constantly about skin cancer. They be talking about the sun. They're like, "Oh, you spend so much time in the sun. You worried about skin cancer?" No, because the sun doesn't give you skin cancer, or else people in the tropics would be suffering from skin cancer on like astronomical levels. Like there'd be an epidemic of skin cancer, and everyone in the tropics would be moving up north. But if you actually look at the charts, chronic illness goes up the further you move away from the tropic band. Chronic illness went up once we started using rubber bottoms on our shoes. It just takes some research, right? What does the tropics represent? People got to understand what the tropics represents to you as a human being. Then you can understand what the back to nature and tropical movement is, right? Because if I know about any animal, every animal has its particular environment. It has its place that it's supposed to be at, right? And if you're a human being, if you look at your body, right? Your body is made a certain way. There's a certain amount of fur on your body, right? Me, I got fur here. I don't really got fur here. I don't really got fur here, right? So why am I gonna be in an environment where I gotta go kill, steal, and destroy in order to create clothing so I could walk out and just live in my environment? When in all reality, in reality, right? You're supposed to be in an environment that you never have to shield yourself from. Just like if you're around a person and they don't accept your thoughts and you always gotta shield and change how you think. You always gotta put on a face for them. Is that healthy? Is it healthy to be around someone who you can't organically express yourself as? No, it's not. Because you'll always feel like you're leaving part of yourself out. That's what it means to be outside of the tropics as a human being. Being outside of the tropics as a human being means that you're leaving part of yourself hidden. You're leaving part of yourself away. You're always denying yourself of what you truly are. And what you truly are is everything. What you truly are is to be in tune and connected to everything that's around you. You're supposed to be able to walk around naked every day wearing your natural fur. Because that's what you were made to do. No one will understand your purpose until you live in your purpose. Until you live in your natural environment, until you live in your natural habitat, until you start to understand being natural. Once we start to understand these things, hey, what's up? Are you coming in? Let's see. Reflection.
What's up, Reflection? What's up?
What's
You guys can't
poppin'?
see me. My camera's broken, but
That's okay. That's okay.
but yeah, yo, like it's not fur. Reflection is hair. There's a difference. Fur
Fact.
just comes. Fur
Fact. But
covers.
I'm trying to put it in the mindset of someone from the north. Up north, we
Right,
see
right.
mad things with fur. So fur would say that that's how that animal lives in this natural habitat because it's got fur. Just like
Right.
you couldn't bring a wolf to the tropics
Mm-hmm.
because a wolf has a certain fur that wouldn't allow
Exactly.
it to live in the tropics. Now you peep me, I got hair full of melanin. I got conductors. I got wires. You see my beard is nappy. This is
Yeah,
conductor. This is my leaves from my tree.
yeah, I agree. Like Master Teacher Nature Boy said, we are literally portable trees.
That's a fact, bro. That's why
Yeah,
they breathe out oxygen and we breathe in oxygen.
yeah, real shit. We have a deep connection between them too. But the
Facts, man. We
lowest,
got a deep connection with everything in this environment.
real
But
shit.
trees,
It's
especially, because they're the only things that grow vertical like we do. Everything else will grow on its fours. And you look at us and trees, we grow vertical. We grow straight up.
man, yo, that's crazy. I didn't think of that. But that's
That's
crazy.
dude. Reflection, where you at, Reflection?
Right now I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, but I'm barely 17. I'm trying to get to the tropics. I've been trying to
Ah, yeah,
leave,
you're a
but
young bull.
I gotta wait till I'm 18, man. It's some BS. Like I've had enough.
I
It's
feel
it.
you, bro. I feel you. It's just, hey, just take this time now. Take the
Right.
time until you get your papers, and just this is where you can get your mind right. Because you
Right,
never want to
exactly.
come back here once you're gone. You feel me? Once
Facts,
you're
yeah.
out, you never want to come back. And as someone
Real
who
shit.
been out, came back, is about to be back out, don't come back. You
Yo,
feel me?
why did you come back? Like I'm never coming back. That's a fact. Like
Fact, because I felt when I came back, bro, I came
uh-huh.
back because someone I fell for my lower self, yo. I fell for my lower self. I had attachments here that I didn't get to fully handle, and it was
Yeah,
something that was weighing on me, and it was
yeah,
something that like I just had to see through, and like that was my fallback. You know what I mean?
yeah, I
So
feel
I
you.
suffered my karma for that because I know what the truth is.
Yeah,
Feel me? So every day,
exactly.
that's why I do this. I give
Yeah,
back to remind myself and to remind anyone who's like me who did this
yeah.
and nah, you got to remember to get yourself back there because this isn't our environment, no matter if it's summer or not. You feel me?
Real shit, real shit. And it's crazy too though, because everything is happening in divine timing and order. You're there because you needed to learn something. Like that's really real.
Facts. Because there's so much that I need to learn. Like I tried to skip some steps, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And you can't skip steps. Remember, don't ever
exactly.
skip steps.
Right.
Feel me? That's
Yeah,
why
I
right
agree
now,
though.
like, huh?
I agree though. The universe doesn't let you skip steps because there has been so many
Exactly.
times when I found an exit, right? And then the universe just snatched that away from me and I'm like, yeah, it can't be that easy. I still have to stay here. I still have to purify, you know? Cause
Facts, bro.
the tropics is a mind state, just like Babylon is a mind state.
Exactly. And you have
Yeah.
to be able to understand the abundance. You have to remember at the end of the day that that's all you need. Abundance in the tropics is all you need, as long as you can keep reminding yourself that, because that's what a lot of happens to a lot of beings when they get down there, right? You get that first test from the universe, right? I was
Mhm.
with a lot of people, a lot of divine beings while I was down there, and they'd hit some tests, and we'd all hit some tests because they're just a reflection of me. So I would hit some
Right.
tests, feel
Yeah.
me? And we
Yeah.
start worrying about, yo, when's this coming? When's that coming? You can't. You just got to remember you have everything you need in that space. And that
Mm.
all it takes, just like here, you had to do research on how to research your way out,
Right.
right? Down there, you got to research your way in so you could stay in, right? So
Fact.
understanding what grows naturally, understanding what katuk is, understanding what these vegetables and stuff that grow naturally everywhere. Once
Yeah.
you learn that down there,
Mhm.
you learn how to research in that area and you become real in tune. That's what it means to be in tune once you get down there. You'll
Yeah.
never ever have to come back. Feel
Yeah.
me?
Mhm. So, are you sleeping in a tent right now?
Right now I sleep between a tent and I sleep on the floor, depending on the weather. I flip
Oh,
flop between the two.
yeah, yeah, that's perfect. And it's so sad because I think it was like 2 months ago I was having a conversation with a reflection of mine, but he was asleep and I was telling him about the tropics and he was talking about how it was so dangerous over there. He was talking about how animals were gonna get us and whatnot. And I was telling him, like, what do you mean? It's so dangerous over here. So even if you're afraid there, shouldn't you be afraid over here too because of all the dangers and you're just suffering? And it's crazy too because he had diabetes and he was on medication and he was telling
Mm-hmm.
me how it was just suffering for him. It was either he took the medicine and felt the acid in his throat. Like I didn't really personally know him, but I was just having a conversation with him because I talked to
Mm-hmm.
everyone. But it was just really sad to see his like mindset and everything. Like it's just crazy.
Back. You gotta remember, because out here we're trained to stop our mind. Like you saw the new video on the MK Ultra, right? The
Yeah,
MK Ultra mindset.
yeah, uh-huh.
Now, when you look at any movie that's made in any of these tropical countries, they're always teaching you about kill,
And
steal, and destroy going on down there. They're talking about kidnapping. They're talking about like narcotics. They're talking about all these things in the tropics, but they're never showing you the real truth about the tropics. They're always
exactly.
showing you things to try and scare you away. But when you look out here, like that's why they call it the concrete jungle, man. You're just as liable to get swindled, to get killed, anything out here, even more out here, right? Because out here there's such a mindset of everyone trying to covet, right? We
Hmm.
everyone's trying to get something over on you. Everyone's trying to take something from you, trying to take your energy, right? That's what capitalism is, right? Capitalism is capitalizing on someone, right? So
Hmm.
if that's a mindset that we hold in this environment as it is, right, you always got to be worried about someone trying to snatch you off your square, right? In the tropics, they're not really worried. They're worried about the basic things, right? They're not worried about the same things out here. Here we created a construct where people just ended up being savages, right?
Right.
The savages weren't from the tropics. The savages went to the tropics.
Yeah. And it's fucked up too because they expect us to act civil, but first and foremost, their leader isn't civil. And then the way they treat the people, it's like if you treat a human like an animal, it's gonna be an animal. But you can't even make that comparison because you can't really see animals as crazy because they're the smart ones compared to these people that are living out of tune because they know how to live in tune. They know how to live for free and everything.
Facts. But you ever see two squirrels in your front yard or two squirrels? They just be playing with each other the whole time. They
Exactly. No
chasing each
worries.
other. They having fun. You never
Yeah.
see squirrels out here fighting. You never see squirrels stealing nuts from each other, doing
Nah.
shit like that. You know what I mean?
Mm.
They're living in tune. They not have an understanding of what's going on.
Yeah.
Out here, we don't understand being in tune just yet because our society is so unnatural. Everything is about taking. It's
Mhm.
like no cipher, right? So
Yeah.
because we don't have cipher, no one has an understanding of cipher. Everyone acts out of cipher. We act out of pocket on a regular.
Facts. It's crazy too because it's all that genetically modified information that's out there. Like
Hmm.
it's been the genetically modified information has been out there for so long that people are so used to it and they're so comfortable that now that Master Teacher Nature Boy is coming out, Like that shit looks so foreign to them. It's also because they're so comfortable that they don't want to change. And you know what's even more crazy? The slavery thing. Like back then when African Americans were enslaved and then they got their freedom, they weren't really freed because before someone could be a slave, you had to be mentally enslaved. They couldn't take you from Africa if you were mentally enslaved. So they physically enslaved us, but mentally they didn't know what to do. So they're still slaves, and it's crazy because you could see it now. Like the people are still going to work. It's like masters still telling them, if you want to eat, you're gonna have to do this and get that money in exchange. Like that shit is still happening, but it's
Facts.
just
Well, because we
crazy.
don't understand what it means that like when you work, right? Like you work
Yeah,
a job, like things in nature, they still like work in a sense for their food, but
exactly.
it's different. They
Yeah,
just go find it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They just go walk around and manifest it. Like we out here do these things that we don't really mess with. People be putting their passion and energy into things that aren't their natural nature, right? Like no one, you can't tell me that anyone who works at Dick's Sporting Goods just because they're trying to get a check is actually living their purpose. You feel me?
Yeah,
Like
that's fact.
so that's what way they do. They create these traps to try and suck you into and try and get you caught up in these mindsets that don't really work. Like
Yeah.
I was a herbalist. Like I considered myself a herbalist for a bit, right?
Yo,
And then when I
yo.
started to realize that a lot of the people who needed herbalist work and needed herbs were just
Hmm.
people who were breaking like dietary law constantly. So they needed to eat things and take things constantly to make up for that. So they were trying to block their karma in a sense
Right.
instead of just like learning what truth is, how to properly eat. What are the times you're supposed to eat? What are the times you're supposed to do this? And then you don't need the herb. The herb is supposed to be there just in case you mess up, but you're not supposed to always be going back to it. It's about like just because you can, that doesn't mean you always should. And
Right.
today in our society, we don't understand the difference. We just think because we can, we're gonna. You know what I mean? It's because you
Yeah.
can, that means that you shouldn't always, right? And that's what we
Exactly.
got to break down. That's what the tropical abundance is, right? Like going down and living minimalist, living in tune, living in a tent, living basic, right? Because
Hmm.
that's all you really need to do. I
Yeah.
know
Exactly.
we all see what like we look at New York City, you see what we can do, but should we have done that? Feel me?
Yeah, I feel you. Hmm. Damn, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Flexion, you keep yourself on. You're on point. You're on point.
Yeah.
You're a young bull. Keep yourself on point. Make sure you just anything that's insulating you, cut it out now, and
Hmm.
keep that divine truth in you. Keep that divine truth in you, and move forward, and just keep pressing, and keep pressing, and keep pressing, keep learning, and always have a thirst to apply. Once you learn it, do your
Yeah.
best to apply it, because you're gonna fall just like everyone falls, but it's about the get back, right?
Right.
Like look
That's
at me, like what does Master Teacher say? A smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from the mistakes of others. And you
exactly.
become the wise man, right? You're on video right now with someone who can make you a wise man. You feel me?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see exactly what I went through, the things I go through. You make sure that in your life you cut that out because you don't
Yeah.
want that. You don't need any insulation. You don't need anything around you that's not giving you exactly what you need, and that's divine truth and knowledge of self. Feel me?
Hmm.
Anything that makes you question that, that
Yeah.
means that they're insulating you from your truth and your path, and don't let them do that.
I agree with you, yo. So let me share a story real quick. When I was 14 years old, like this was like 3, 4 years ago. I was so asleep, like I didn't understand anything about anything. So I used to smoke a lot, and I was robbing houses with a friend. And one day I ended up getting shot because it was like that had to happen for me to be awakened. It was like a wake up call. So I get shot and I die, right, for like 3 whole minutes. And from that time, I remember I ascended and I went up and I saw the light and I had this conversation. But it was just me, it was all in my mind. And it was like,
Hmm.
it, it told me it told me I could rather stay here or I could go back on Earth to do what I went to do. And at that moment, I realized I'm not here for any karmic reasons, but I'm here because I wanted to be here. I came here to help people, and that's what I'm doing every day. And I'm not gonna give up. I'm never gonna give up.
Never give up. You feel me?
Yeah,
Because you came back because you learned your lesson. You feel me?
Yeah.
And the universe wanted to make sure that you didn't spoil that because you're a beam of light, bro. You know what I mean? At
Yeah.
17 to already be peaked into this knowledge, like
Yeah.
this took me a long time to wake up. I was in a lot of constructs in Babylon, right? I was like an athlete. I was stuck in the athlete realm. I went to college to play sports. I was under a scholarship. All this, I got out. It was in the business world. People were around me, like always forcing me to try and use because I always had an eye and I always had a
Mhm.
gift of gab, right?
Right.
I always could talk. So everyone wanted to put me and make me a salesman. They wanted to make me start businesses. I started a mobile barber shop. I did this, this, and this. And it
Yeah.
took me until all that kind of fell apart one day. And I was sitting there, I was shitting blood for like 4 or 5 months straight because I was nervous. I was anxious all the time. I was eating like shit. I was doing all these different things that didn't make sense.
Yeah.
And I slowly started to just chip away and learn divine truth. I started to learn what the proper way to eat was. I started to learn about these things. And as I started to learn, the universe started to grant me access to different beings that were allowing me to see the light in different angles and see different perspectives. I had to
Yeah.
come a full 25 years of being sleep. And like when I say sleep, sleep in a different way because I still like my Mercury is in Aries in the eighth house, right? So like naturally when it comes to like information of occult nature, sex, gender, taboo, I'm there, right? Then I
Mm.
got Venus in the ninth house in Gemini. So when it
Mhm.
comes to higher learning, travel, things of that nature, I'm there. You know what I mean? My
Yeah.
sun's also in the eighth house as well, in Taurus, right? Taurus, Aries aspect, like a cusp. And I got my moons in Cancer. So I have these different things that like allowed me to kind of have an understanding and nurture, be empathetic to feel,
Right.
right? But I was
Exactly.
always channeling it in a weird avenue. It was never in an avenue that was organic to me, right? So as I was growing up, I just had
Yeah.
to realize and notice these certain things that were going on. And once I really started to dive in deep, I started fasting and trying those things out and just trying these things, right, to get the wisdom. Now, as a
Mhm.
fasting, if you're eating proper, you never need to fast.
That's
You never
fact.
need to fast from eating, right?
Because
But like I will
technically,
go
when you're eating right, you should only be eating one time because you're eating for energy, and you technically
That's a
are
fact.
fasting in a way.
Because if you're eating only things that are good for your body, you're always
Yeah.
detoxing, right? People are trying to
Uh-huh.
fast to detox their body. But if I'm eating healthy, I'm eating fruits, I'm eating vegetables, I'm eating everything that's popping from the earth, do I really need to detox from the earth? Do I need to fast from the earth? No, you don't need to fast from the earth. You need to fast from the other bullshit that's putting the guilt on your mind, right? But I had to go through that 21-day water fasting, doing this to my body, pushing my body through certain limits to realize that that's not the answer either. That's just for people who are trying to fit into certain molds. But you gotta go. Sometimes you gotta go through certain things to understand it. Me, I was someone who had to go through it, right? Because I came with a lot more karma into this truth than some people. Some people can catch it a lot earlier, right? Like
Right.
you're still a young bull. You can catch it early, and you don't gotta go through putting your body through the different things, all the
Right.
drinking. Because I was smoking the same way. I was smoking a lot. I was drinking. I was doing all that.
Mhm.
And I had to cut that all down because that's what happens when you hit that college institution life. Like I'll tell people all the time that, and like there's certain things that like college we're talking about an institution. You know what I mean? It's just something that's trying to teach you how to think in a certain way and teach you how to worry about and to be dependent on something, right? Because most people when they go to college, they get out of college and what's their debt looking like? They got debt for $150,000, right?
Exactly.
It could take you the rest of your life to pay off that job, to pay off
Right.
that debt. So now you're a slave to the system. They do that just to get you slaved even more.
They don't want you to know what you are because they know how powerful human beings are. Like
Facts.
we are the most conscious beings on this planet. And it wasn't them who put us here. It was us who put us here. So it's like, why are we here? And they figured it out. We figured it out too. We are God. They don't want us to be God, you know?
That's a super fact because we
Yeah.
have dominion over the planet, and they don't want us to understand what it means to have dominion over something, right? Because having dominion over something doesn't mean you need it. That means you provide for it and you help it thrive, right?
Right.
Once we learn what it means to have dominion over this planet,
Mm-hmm.
everything's about to shake up. And that's what this truth is. This truth is teaching people how to have dominion over planet. have dominion over these things, have dominion even over themselves. Because most
Right.
of us don't even have dominion over our own bodies and spirits yet. We're still trying to figure that out.
That's real. But it's also like as we are growing, we need as we are growing, because everything is us, right? We need our lower self needs lights like us to help them
Fact.
out because the greater we are, like the greater in number we are, the powerful we become.
That's
And
a
it's good.
fact. That's like when you put a bunch of flashlights together. Whenever you put flashlights together, they make a bigger circle just by being next to each other and pointing at the same spot on the wall. Feel me?
Right.
So that's why it's about as much as we can keep this shit together and we can keep our minds linked in and we can keep pushing. That's why social media is what it is. Social media is your flashlight. That's the only
Exactly.
you could pierce through the dark with your flashlight, but you don't have to always be in the dark with everyone. I could stay from back here and I could pierce and I could give you guys the light, but I don't gotta be up in there trying to search for the light with you. And that's what the problem is with some people. That's why you gotta be careful about some spiritual understandings, because that's something that messed me up too. That understanding of you got like the allowance of being around these things and sometimes pulling people out while you're there, like going back and fighting these demons off and grabbing people. But that's just not your environment. You gotta remember that no matter what, because I know that I have certain information that makes allows me to transform someone, right? Just
Yeah.
like you do. You have
Yeah.
this knowledge of health and knowledge of self. You're a transformer, right?
Exactly.
Like when Lil Wayne said that shit on that song, I Can Transform You, remember that shit? Like that was real shit when you know what you're talking about. You
Yeah.
dig? So when you're out here, that's why it's almost like some people get caught up in this. They get that high from doing this shit. And that's something that you have to check. That's what I make sure I check because again, as someone who has like this a certain knowledges, I can know there's certain people I can help. That was something that killed me with my family, things like that. I wanted to give back to the point where they were rebuking and coming at me, even though I was sitting in truth because they didn't understand what they were looking at yet. And then once they see it and they hear it from another source, now they come back and you feel like you want to give back and help and be there with them, taking bullets for them, right? But that's not what this is about, right? You're not supposed to be anyone's martyr but your own martyr. You're about supposed to be a martyr to your own truth, not supposed to be a martyr for someone else who didn't accept the truth when you gave it to them at first.
Yeah, that's facts. And it's crazy too because we really are living in our subconscious mind and everything really is us. Like if you peep that shit, you're gonna start realizing that everything in your surrounding is just testing you. It's like putting
That's a
pressure
fact.
on you, but you know how it is. Diamonds form under
Mhm.
pressure, so you gotta get
That's a fact.
yeah, you gotta get it. Like this is why the path to consciousness, I guess, is narrow because so many people just can't be in it because they can't take the pressure.
Facts. Because it's so easy for you to take an exit. You see people taking exits all the time. And people be taking
Exactly.
exits in the past. Like you can get caught up in the Anunnaki thing. You can get caught up in the government thing. You can get caught up in the herbalist thing. You can get caught up in these exits where once you close your mind off to like other things. You close your mind off to the fact that yo, like this is our home, the planet is your home. This whole
Hmm.
plane of existence is your home.
Right. Yeah.
But people get caught up trying to find a crib. They get caught up because they want to make bread so they can get a house. I want to do this, and I take an exit. So then what do you start doing? You start trying to fix your credit. You go through all the credit, learning the credit system and like the loopholes in the credit system. 'Cause you know how any conscious being is. You put any conscious being in any field, and they're gonna get to the bottom of it right away.
Yeah.
But with that power comes great responsibility. That's why that's a dope ass phrase, a dope ass line
Spider-Man.
in Spider, right? Because like once you have this understanding, you have this knowledge. It's about how
Yeah.
much can I keep it focused
Right.
and keep it on the right thing, keep it on the good thing, not just let it get wasted on anything. And that's what you see people doing. They waste it so they could get some kind of reward and get clout. It's not about clout. It's about being frictionless, like living without friction in your environment. 'Cause you want to live friction when you're living the truth. Like when you're living the truth, you don't want to be in friction with things that are around you. That doesn't make sense. That's going
Right.
to always make you have to be, again, closed off to your environment. That's what you don't want to be, right? As a natural being, you want to be open to your environment at all times, open to infinite
Exactly.
possibilities.
Yeah. And and earlier when you were speaking about how they shame you when you like take off your clothes and whatnot, And it's crazy too because like I be doing that too, and they be yelling at me and whatnot. It's like when they be telling me to cover up, and I'm just like, you telling me to cover up my body is like you telling me to put some gloves on my hands. It's like it's a part of my body.
Mhm.
All of this is a part of my body. There's not one part of my body that's more greater or lesser. It's like it's
That's
all
it.
the
It's just
same.
you.
And then
Fact, but that's go ahead. I'm sorry,
I
keep
be
going.
like because they be religious, right? And I'd be like, you say that God has done everything perfect, but yet when it comes to the body, you act like he made a mistake and we must cover it up. Like that,
Fact.
like
But
that just don't
that's why they be getting nervous. That's why you see so many people not know how to handle their problems
real
because they
shit.
cover up their insecurity because someone was insecure at some point, and then in order to make themselves feel good, they started to create a doctrine of insecurity because what you create in your mind only manifests. So
Mhm.
unless you can be open to what your body is, what your body looks like, purely, truly, no
Yeah.
matter if you perceive it as lesser or greater than something else. Because everything is what the holographic universe teaches you, it's all just a perception.
Mhm.
Everything
Exactly.
is all your mind showing you different parts of yourself. So if I think I'm lesser or greater than something else, that's just because I'm playing that wrong program in my mind. There's no
Right.
such thing. It's all just equal but different, right? Different expression. Like every tree has a similar root system, but when it grows out of the ground, it expresses itself in a different way. But that doesn't make one tree better than the other. They're all the same, just expressing themselves in a different fashion.
Right.
But we don't get that. We always want to try and make one thing better than the other. There's that notion of supremacy, but not in a divine way. Supremacy in a way of separation. It's about supremacy together. If everyone was just supreme beings, would we deal with any of the problems that we're dealing with today?
Mhm. We wouldn't.
We wouldn't,
And
because we'd
yeah.
all know that everyone's deserving. I'm not more deserving than anyone else of anything.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that we create with these notions that we do. Because the body is beautiful. Everyone's body is beautiful. Everyone's body is individual. It's art, right?
Yeah.
Like if you
Exactly.
look at your earlobe, like have you ever just looked at your ear and just peeped like how it's perfectly made to just receive sound, but it's so like it's so intricate, like it's so artistic. Like this
Right.
is art. Feel me? And
Yeah.
until we can just like appreciate the art that we are and
Mhm.
stop trying to create art on nature, stop trying to create art on canvases, just appreciate
Right.
your art first,
Exactly.
then get into anything else.
Yeah, that's real. Yo, but it's crazy though because like out here in Babylon, like melanated people are fighting for their freedoms and they want equal rights, and it's like the person that you're asking equal rights to, isn't he like your master? Isn't he like enslaving you still? Because like that shit just don't make sense to me. Like how you going how you gonna be searching for freedom in other people when you say that you're your own person?
Facts. Well, you should never ask someone who doesn't understand you to help free
Freedom
you
too.
because they don't know how to they don't understand what your freedom would be like.
Yeah,
They don't
exactly.
understand what it means for you to be free because they can't even accept their own freedom. Like they don't even know how to free their own people. You look at less melanated beings. You look at the
Mhm.
Europeans. Even in Europeans in the European mindset aren't free. So they don't even know how to free their own selves. And you think that anyone can go up and ask as a melanated being in any
Right.
sense of the word can be like, yo, I need freedom from this. They don't know how to free themselves because they're trapped in their own mind. They're trapped in their own schism. So that's why it's about the best way to be free is to leave and to know that that's
Right.
okay. And to just remember that when you leave, everyone's going to do everything they can so that you don't leave because they don't understand themselves. And you know that as a beacon, right, as a light bearer,
Yeah.
right, you've been bearing your light your whole life in a sense. You've always been bearing light. As a
Right.
conscious being, once you understand that you've always been a light bearer, because you just don't fully always give yourself credit for what you've been for other people.
Mhm.
Even in your lower self, you were still being something for so many people. And
That's
once you
real.
can realize that and you can just
Yeah.
accept that, it's so much easier to move on after.
Right. That's really real. Hmm. Continue. Like.
Okay. Because we look at this, okay? I look at let's look at my astrological energy, right? I
Yeah.
got Sun in Taurus, right? I
Hmm.
got the Moon in Cancer in the 10th house, right?
Yeah.
So that has to do with like my public persona, right? And now you slide the nurturer in there, but the nurturer becomes exalted there with the Moon, right? And I also have the Taurus in the 8th house, along with Aries in the 8th house. So I could put a fire in you when I speak if I want as well. Right? So I've
Right.
always been someone, and I get direct. I can be real direct. So when it came to advice, I could give people a nurturing feel, but I could also be
Hmm.
direct with them and give them good, poignant advice. Right? Because I
Right.
can pull from the unseen because my Mercury is in the 8th house and my Sun is in the 8th house in two different signs. Balanced though, right?
Yeah.
So I was always able to give people a piece of advice that even I like sometimes I wouldn't understand how it would help them, right? Because every time when I was growing up, older people were always putting problems on me that I was too young to understand, right?
Hmm.
And I was always wondering why, but that used to put me through things mentally, right? Because I was always trying to figure it out. So as I was growing up, it made me kind of a little unbalanced and insecure about things when I was growing up because I had so much emotion on my chest, right? Now, when I went to start trying to move and get myself out, like it took me like a year before I found nature where I was traveling already because there was a point where I just like dipped and left. I was like, I can't be here anymore because no one was accepting me. I was traveling. I mean, I was fasting. I was learning how to fast. I was learning like how to eat proper. I was eating alkaline. I was doing all these different things. So my body went from being like a basketball athlete, like super jacked, like big, pumped up, to like I
Hmm.
lost like 30 pounds, right? But it was 30 pounds of sickness. It wasn't 30 pounds of health. You know what I mean? It was 30
Right.
pounds of sickness because my body was sick. So while I was healing, of course, my body is going to get rid of the bullshit in order to heal me, right? But no one
Yeah.
could understand that because they weren't looking in. They were surface dwellers themselves. They were onto fad diets, right? So once I
Exactly.
started to try and leave, it was like
Hmm.
I was a support for a lot more people than I knew I was because everyone when I was away and when I started to try and go, they didn't really like when I was here. They didn't really do much. It wasn't like everyone was trying to come see me every weekend. Everyone just hit me up when they had problems, right? But once I left, and that idea of that not being there anymore, that not being in the back pocket sometimes
Hmm.
made people like now think like, oh shit, I need to make sure that I try and keep him around. You can't leave. You can't leave. Like you gotta like you have this, you got this. And it was like, damn, like what do you mean I have this? What about my sanity? I don't even have my health right now. I need my health. I need my sanity. I need to be there for me,
Right.
right? So it was once I started to travel and left on that notion, I was
Hmm.
able to vibrate to Nature Boy. All of a sudden I vibrated to Nature Boy like, yo, this is the real spill right here. This is exactly what it was. I remember the first time I listened to him, my ear was ringing. And I was just like, yo, the only other time I had my ear ring like that was when I first heard Sebi speak. And that was when I first needed to heal myself. That was like my first step when it came to like healing my infirmity. I heard Sebi first. And when
Yeah.
I heard Sebi the first time, and my ear buzzed, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And that ended up leading to me being able to heal myself. And it wasn't until I heard Nature Boy, and I heard him talking his first video, and my ear started ringing. Man, I was like, "Yo, this is truth right here," because I was already thinking like, "Yo, I'm trying to find a place in India, like a farm, do something like this, live off grid."
Hmm.
But then you see someone who started teaching me about the world being all this plane is your home. You don't need to try and own land. Ownership is fake, it's false. And it was just like, yo, facts,
Hmm.
facts, just facts on facts to help me with that. I was putting stress on myself, right? That anxiety. Even though I wanted to go, it was like, yo, if I gotta afford this, I gotta pay for this, and that money construct, right? Because even conscious beings, you look at why conscious beings are always trying to sell detox teas, why they're always trying to sell the earth back to you, is because they're still caught up in that schism of money. Money's a schism.
Right. It's just a game.
And
The people that make money don't need money. And like real
facts,
shit, it's really just perception. Because you know how
facts.
they be saying these eyes are projectors? Because it's like
Hmm.
you receive a signal and then your mind, your brain thinks of it, and whatever your thoughts are, you perceive it out. This is why last time I was in a room, it was dark, and I was just looking around, and it was peaceful. And I was thinking how if I was having bad thoughts, I would have thought that these demons were out. There were demons out here trying to get me, and I would have seen demons and whatnot. Like it's crazy.
Facts. Because you only see what you're looking for. You only find what you're
Yeah,
looking for.
exactly, and
Facts.
that's
Like
the thing.
you were looking for truth and knowledge of self, and look at all
Right.
the people that you found once you set that as your goal. Once you set your intent and your goal as finding like truth and knowledge of self and things like that, look at the people that vibrate into your life. Because look at what happened in your friend request. Know what I mean?
Right.
I
Yeah.
look at that all the time, right? Look at how many
Right.
people are vibrating into your life and adding you, and look at what representation they are. They're representation all of what you're trying to become.
Yeah, that's real shit. Like the people aren't really meant to be your life forever. They're like steps, you know? You gotta graduate every person. And the
Mm-hmm.
universe works in balance, so it'll never take something away from you and not give you something else. You have to
Facts.
practice detachment because if you understand detachment, if you understand that this person is no longer good for me, I deserve better, and you let it go, the universe sees this and he's like, you do deserve better. And it's crazy because I peeped it, you know? And then it's like,
You notice that the universe gave you like a person who was very similar to another person? Like the energy
yeah,
felt the same, but they were just like one step
better.
consciously higher. They're like next grade,
Right.
right?
Yo,
And it's just
yeah.
like, yo, what the heck?
Exactly. Yo, that was so when I first made this Facebook, I didn't really get on it, but then like a couple weeks later, I thought I should, and then I was just adding people, and then one of my reflections added me, and she texted me. She was talking about her astrology chart, and I saw her astrology chart, right, and all her planets were in the same signs as mine, and I was just like, what the heck? Except for her moon, but like I was just shocked. I was like,
What?
I've never met someone who's just like me, and then me and her had great conversations and whatnot. But then she just started becoming a stumbling block. And I didn't want to
Mm-hmm.
cut her off, but I had to and I did. And then
Hmm.
others came in and it's just amazing.
Yeah, because that's what you'll find too. It's like you'll find that within like the understanding of consciousness, right? That's just aware. So many people are aware of so many different things. There's so many
Exactly.
different levels to awareness, right? So
Yeah.
like once you start seeing someone showing you like that they're stuck in a paradox, it's
Yeah.
time to get rid of it because it's about that pure frequency. And you always feel the pure frequency when it's there, and you know that certain people are there to help you get even like pure in your frequency. They're there to challenge your mind just a little bit. But others are there just for you to see not what not to do, what not how not to go about it, how to move on from this and that. And that's like what when you really start to peep again, because you're aware, you're consciously, you're understanding it. That's how
Yeah.
you're gonna start to view it. I gotta start to see
Mhm.
this. Okay, this is someone that I gotta get rid of. This is a person I gotta add now. This is a person, and you'll always notice. Like I'll notice that when I hit certain, when I level up, like when I detach from something else, and I let something go, and it's like, ah, I feel it on my chest. I like cleared that space off. I'll get
Yeah.
like a bunch of new friend requests all of a sudden. It's like, damn, now I got a whole bunch of different energy coming in. It's like, oh
Right.
my God. It's like, oh, the universe is acting like this right now. I feel that. I feel it.
Right. I posted a post, I think it was like a week ago or something. I was talking about how life could be so amazing if you just let it. Like all these people are keeping all these attachments and whatnot, and they're in relationships because they're afraid. They think that if they let this go, they will never get something better. And I was just thinking like if you let it go, life is trying to be so amazing to you, but you're just not letting it. Like life could be so great, but you just don't let it.
That's a fact because the universe is always trying to give you what you want. The
Exactly.
universe is always trying to please you. But if
Yeah,
you're showing that you want to stay with someone who doesn't make you happy, the universe thinks that's what you want at the moment.
yeah,
It
real
thinks you
shit.
want that person. So it's just going to give you more of that. But the second you let go and you just open up for the universe to give you again and take time to think about like I feel like a lot of people like this is something I notice in the conscious community, right? Is
Mhm.
that like we get so afraid of attaching to someone because but like you have to be able to properly attach in order to
Right.
properly detach
Yeah,
and learn your lesson.
because
So in order to learn my lesson from someone, huh?
there's healthy attachments too.
Facts, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to get yourself to a position to actually get to know someone and see exactly their true colors, right? If I only surface dwell with everything, we see how that works, right? Or you
Yeah,
see how it works when you surface dwell. But if I really attach to someone and I really let them in and become vulnerable, then I can learn exactly what that person was there and putting this in my life for, right?
Mhm.
Then you make your choice and make your decision if this is something worth keeping or something worth removing. But a lot of
Right.
us get so afraid, like but it's okay, you know what I mean? It's everything's okay because we still all have so much traumas to heal from, you know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
still healing just like everyone else is. Like everyone's still out here healing from different things that they went through in their life. And once you
Mhm.
accept that and know that the best, like Master Teacher would say, the best way to heal is to have someone else come and show you opposite of what that was, right? You have to have sometimes it's not about always being by yourself. It's about having someone who comes in and shows you different. That peopletarian, right? If you have people around you that are there for you, they're always going to show you that this is what I need. This is exactly what I need. They're going to help me heal because their mindset and their perspective and what they're bringing, their light, is helping to fill up my light a little bit more. I'm not trying to
Mhm.
like use so much of my light on this. And that's beauty.
Right. That's so true. And how you know how you were saying that the universe gives you what you want? Like it's crazy because everything is the universe and you are the universe. So this also
Right.
goes with your body. Like the people
Mm-hmm.
that speak bad on themselves, or like birthdays, for instance, when like when someone's celebrating a birthday and they turn off these lights and they're telling you that you're turning this age, you hear it, your cells hear it, and you believe it,
Mm-hmm.
so you become it. Like that's crazy. Your subconscious
Facts, because
mind
you're
is
thinking about, oh, I'm sorry, because you're thinking about getting 1 year closer to like quote unquote death,
death.
right? And you're
Yeah.
celebrating getting closer to death. That's why our
Yeah.
society lives against itself because we
That,
don't understand how to celebrate life. Like you watch TV, like you look at what TV is, and TV is just celebration of death. There's mad killing shows. There's shows
yeah.
about murder, murder investigation, like all these different things, celebrating people killing each other, and we wonder why we can't grasp like how to live healthily lives together when
Exactly.
everything around us is just like trying to like get you fired up over killing people, get you fired up over death, make you hungry when you see something dead. Like weird stuff, yo. Weird things.
Real.
Weird things.
Our minds are all twisted, like crazy.
Hmm. But
Mm,
that's why it's about finding those space. It's about creating your space. You know what I mean? Like that's why you have to spend, well, we have to spend more
yeah.
time creating things that we can put in our space that appease
Exactly.
our subconscious, that give our subconscious reminders,
Mhm.
right? If you like, especially when you're in Babylon, like take your time, make some art that reminds you of what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, and put
Yeah.
it all over your walls.
Mhm.
Create, write something that you're gonna read every day. Put it on your wall and tap it every day. That's gonna remind your subconscious. Remember what I wrote on this piece of paper? Bang, this stays true to me today. This is true to me because this is the things that like again that where like you drive down the street, you gotta see McDonald's, I gotta see Burger King, I gotta see gun stores, liquor stores, I gotta see all these different things that my subconscious is just seeing as honoring the opposite of what I'm trying to do. So at
Right.
least if you can in your space, your own space and environment, put as many things as you can in there that are gonna be
Mhm.
like, yeah, this is life. This is
Right.
this is keeping me tuned into what I'm trying to do.
Right. Like when I figured that out, that your subconscious mind is constantly taking things in, like without your permission, I was just like, nah. So I just started writing all these things, like everything positive about myself, And I just put it
Hmm.
all on the wall. And I was like, yo, if the lower self could play this game, then I could play it too. So I just started
Fact.
reprogramming my mind, and it was just like, what you do, I'm gonna do it too, but to better myself.
That's a fact. But that's why we got to use like even like a mirror. Like I talk
Mhm.
about this too. Like we use mirrors so much to find things that are wrong with ourselves instead of using the mirror to point out all the beautiful things that you have and I have, right? All the
Right.
beautiful things that I see, I have to remind myself every day in the mirror because
Mhm.
there's so many people that you're going to walk into that are going to be trying to cover up something, right? They're going to be using cover up, literally, right? They're going to be trying to make up, right? That's the teacher, right? They're
It's
trying
in
to
the
make
name.
up for something that they lack,
Right.
right? So it's on us to use the mirror as another tool. You use everything as a tool to now. That's why alchemy is so popping, right? That's why you must become an alchemist
Yeah,
because you
exactly.
must be able to use everything in your environment as a way to self-actualize, a way to point yourself to your higher self. No matter what it is, let it be a reminder for you on the higher self, not the lower self.
Mhm.
Because there's so many things that if you really, your subconscious has already attached itself to on the lower self spectrum. So anything that you can do to reprogram something
Yeah,
and alchemize it to make you get to that next level, that's something that has to be done.
that's real too. But yo, it's really crazy how when the lower self does something to go against us, it doesn't hide it from us. It tells us what it's doing, like makeup, for instance, and then the birthday. It's crazy because in a way they are lying to us, but we're not celebrating the day we were born. We're celebrating the day that we're gonna die because we're celebrating us getting older.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't
But
make
it's
sense.
yeah,
These are
I
all
just
things that don't make sense.
right.
That's why we gotta check it. That's why it's our job. That's why it's like your job as a conscious being to check these things and to be aware. And while you're aware, just make sure that everything that comes into your space that's not yielding your self-actualization and your growth, you have to kick it out. You have
Right.
to replace it and always replace it. And then if you're not gonna replace it, the universe is about to replace it because
Mm-hmm.
that's how it works. Because the universe is you. So anything that you can do to make your environment completely tell you who you are
Yeah.
constantly.
Right. I mean, your environment is already telling you who you are and how you're thinking because it's all perception. But
Facts.
it's also crazy, like for the people out there that are vegan but might not know this. Like you might become vegan because one of the reasons is how they treat the animals, and you're understanding that the animals die in fear, hatred, and all this stuff, so you don't eat meat. But then you can't just go around and hanging out or surrounding yourself with people that do the same thing, that the same people that hold that energy, that have hate, fear, because you're a vegan, but it's kind of like destroying the whole point of becoming a vegan because there's still people around you that are still feeding you meat technically because it's just all energy. Honestly, food is just energy. Food comes in all types of form. That's what people don't understand either. It's like they think the only food that you get or the only energy that you get is what you eat. So when you speak to on someone that's asleep, that I'm getting energy while I'm talking to you, they might see you as something crazy, but like that's just crazy. But I just wanted to throw that out there.
Or because you feel that like okay, when you look at when you look at astrology, right? Are there
Hmm.
certain astrological energies that bring out certain natures of your spirit? Right? Have you ever had a friend who makes you more funny when you're around them?
Yeah.
Have you ever had a friend who you're around that you get like you might be a little more pessimistic? All these different things. So like that tells you right away that certain people draw certain energies out of you,
Right.
right? So they also
Yeah.
put energies in you that bring that out of you.
Yeah.
So
And
that's one of the easiest ways to tell if someone's good or bad for you. It's what is the nature that comes out. What's the spirit that comes out of me when I spend time with this person?
right. And you know what's crazy? All of my chart, I'm a Gemini, except for like my Mars, which is in Sagittarius, and my Venus is in Taurus.
Mm,
And then my ascendant
mm,
is in Pisces. So this makes me someone who can just adapt to someone. Like me being around someone, I adapt and I take their energies in, like I become that person. So then it's more fitting for them. Like,
hmm
but like, yeah, it's not
You always have to be. You have to be You have to be more mindful.
exactly right. Like, you gotta be,
I have to be far more mindful about the people around. That's just like me. I have my moon in Cancer, so I'm empathetic, right?
yeah,
I can feel someone's emotional body right when I come around them. So for
right.
me, I have to make sure that if I'm around people who
Mm-hmm.
understand and know how to keep themselves balanced. And the more I'm around people that aren't balanced, the
Mm-hmm.
more I become unbalanced because they put their energies onto me, even unbeknowing of themselves. Sometimes they don't even know, but I know, and that's all that matters, right? But
Right.
that's why the burden. That's why we bear the burden. That's why you bear the cross. Feel me? You bear the ankh because
Exactly.
you know this, and once you're aware of this, that's why it's about now shaping your life to fit your truth and match your truth with your life. But that's why a lot of these spiritual notions and things like that are going to keep you in a state of sleep because they're going to try and reinforce you to deal with it and allow allow things, allow. No, no. You should only allow the universe. You should never allow something that you know isn't really right for you and doesn't fit your truth to
Right.
be in your consciousness, to be in your
Mhm.
subconscious reality. Because again, that's just a reflection of your mind if you're allowing it there. If you're allowing it there, that means you haven't got past it yet.
Right. Exactly. Hmm. It's just so sad though. Like it's so simple. Like once someone understands that they're God, everything else just comes in hand, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Facts.
Yeah. I don't
Reflection.
know.
This was a beautiful build, reflection.
Right, right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I'm grateful,
Yeah.
reflection. I'm
Yeah.
grateful.
Thank you, Reflection. I was just in your comments and I just kept commenting like as you were speaking, I was building on and I was like, you know what? I should go I should just get in the room with him. But like yeah, that's what I was
Facts.
gonna
Of
do.
course, I'm always here to build. Like I'm always about building with like-minded beings, right?
Right, yeah.
I spend too much time trying to talk to get people into certain frequency. And when there's someone on the frequency,
Mhm.
that's what you gotta build. These are the conversations that people will be able to take some from away in all
Right.
frequency levels.
That's facts. And it's like even us building me and you, that just made us stronger, you know?
That's a fact. Because we
Yeah,
just shed light to each other, bro. You had me
exactly.
here. You're like in quote unquote Babylon years. Someone would perceive
Exactly.
you as younger, right? But in
Yeah.
the same, when it comes to conscious years, we're on the
Mhm.
same plane, and you were able to make me see things in a different light. So that's why I'm
Exactly.
grateful. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for I being able to see you. You
Exactly.
know what
Yeah. Damn.
I
But
mean?
it's crazy though, like that Babylon year shit, like that shit is so dumb and irrelevant, you know?
Yeah, it's a method to create separation, because that's what the Babylon mindset is. It's a way of creating separation, and as many it's giving you any excuse you can to separate yourself, right,
Right.
from the things around you. It's giving you any reason you can to separate yourself from things that are going on. To say I'm not this, right? When the real consciousness is supposed to be, you're looking for every reason to say I am, right? That's what
Exactly.
the I am is. What the I am is. You're not supposed to be saying I'm not, but that's what Babylon consciousness will do to you. It'll make you
Hmm.
say I'm not this, I'm not that.
Right. So, how do you think, or what do you think you could do that'll enlighten more people? Like, how do you think
For
you could
me,
reach more people?
for me, for me, I I think it's about just getting into my proper environment and documenting it in the best
Being
way
an
that I
example.
can, and getting around more beings that are on my frequency,
Right.
right? Because
Hmm.
once, just like we were talking about earlier, if more than one person is shedding the light and shooting
Yeah.
that flashlight, I mean, it's only going to
Hmm.
make it stronger for anyone else who sees that light, and that light's only going to be able to project just like a lighthouse.
Right. That's so
So
true.
I'm just focused on making my steps, like the Yeti, I'll be having the Yeti soon, very soon, right? So once I have the Yeti,
Yeah.
then I can go to the tropics and I can be assured that I have control over my elements, right? I can
Right.
have power. I can have a generator, a source, so that whoever is with me and vibrates to me while I'm moving will be able to now put the message out and document every single thing that we're doing and show people exactly what it means to be in tune. If from our perspective, because we only got certain amounts of perspective on this frequency, right? Right
Yeah.
now, people that are doing it in the way that we need it to be done. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So it's my goal to do and take what that's what was kind of part of this. Like the universe put me in a divine place for divine timing. So I'm able to acquire all the things that I needed to do and ditch these last bit of attachments. So now that I can be in a position to have certain things for now when I go back down, assure that whoever vibrates to me this time and whatever happens in this move, we can project and give that light back exactly how we want it done and in exactly the way that the people need it. Because that's all we'll do. Every time you go out to share a message, you're just going to share your message in the exact way that certain people need it, right? Certain people will need your message the way you speak it, right?
Right.
Certain people need my message the way I articulate it.
Mhm.
Everyone has a certain way that they articulate because every person is one piece of the puzzle, right? Just like I can be a corner piece and you can be a corner piece, but that doesn't mean that we're going to completely connect. But we still have 4 or 5 pieces that connect to our corner pieces that we're going to need, that are going to need to come to us. Feel
Right.
me? And that's how we all got to start to look at it, is that every person's got 1 or 2 or 3 people that are their pieces that are just trying to wait for them to fit in, just trying to wait for that piece to show so that they could connect to it.
I agree. I agree. And it's like Master Teacher Nature Boy says that the universe is not expanding. We're actually all contracting. Everything is getting
Facts.
together. We're starting to realize that everything is one, because
Facts.
that's the only way we could ascend from here. Because right, people are just reincarnating because it's crazy, because like people be fearing hell, but once you're aware, once you're awoke or whatsoever, you can't feel hell. You can't fear hell because you understand that everything is you. You are God. You are the person who sends you to hell. So you understand that if you get sent there, it's because you're there to get purified. So then your next life could be much much better.
Facts, because hell is a state of mind. Hell is putting your,
That's so
and
real
that's what you
too.
see that. Facts, because you see that in this reality. Like people put themselves. I was just talking to a being recently, and it was like a lower self conversation. They were talking about how they have so much trouble paying their car payment, right? Like I have so
Mhm.
much trouble paying my car payment. Like I'm gonna trade in my car so I can get this other car, and it's a little bit of a lower car payment. I said you're just trading in one fucking stress for another stress. Listen to how you're speaking, right?
Uh,
You're trading in hell for hell. I'm trying to just pick the lesser of 2 evils because both are things that you're gonna stress about. Why not get
right.
a bike? Why not try and figure out how to go without instead of continuously adding stress? But that's a hell mindset because they're not thinking about what's practical. They're trying to look a certain way. They're trying to fit an image,
Right.
right?
That's
And
true.
once you understand you are everything, you know that you just are your image. You don't have to try and set up an image for yourself. Once you understand who you naturally are and you love yourself naturally, that's the
Mm-hmm.
only image you need to portray. And you just need to portray truth and principles and morals. That's the image that we need to worry about more. See, we don't worry more a lot about our actual moral and principle image. We worry too much about like our darb, our swag. Like we want swag. That's why swag, what the word swag actually means and the way we try to spin it are 2 different things. Swag means like kind of like poshy, glitzy, glammy, like crap almost. It's just a bunch of stuff, right? But we think of swag like, oh, swag, right? But it's not. But the etymology stays the same, right? That's all
Yeah.
just swag. It's just stuff. Like a car is just stuff. All that stuff is just for the birds. It doesn't. You can't take it with you, and it only causes you stress because I have to have insurance now, right? And
Mhm.
insurance. Who's making money off insurance? Who's making money off the fossil fuels? Who's making money off these different things? So the more that I try and make myself fit into this thought frequency in this matrix, right? I'm
Mhm.
really putting myself in hell state because I'm not understanding all the karmas that go along with this thing.
Right.
Just because I want to look good, I might want to pick up a girl or something like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense when you really think about it.
Right. And it's fucked up too because like no honest truly money doesn't really have any value to the people who make it. And it's like you how
Fact.
you're speaking the fossil fuel. It's not valuable to them, but they it's like it's like them. It's like we're enslaved and to them. Like it's like we're cars to them and they give us fuel. Well, I should put it in a better way. It's like we're robots working at a factory and they're giving us fuel. They're giving us water. They're giving us electricity, all these things. So then our batteries charge up and then so then they could take it later because we work in time. You're working, you get paid by the hour. So the lower self is measuring your energy, but it measures it by time. So it's harnessing
Fact.
your energy. But you know what I don't really get, even though it's harnessing your energy, like I know it's harnessing your energy, but like, what's the point? I mean,
Because
I
I
get it. I
feel
get
you.
it now. As I was speaking, I got it. It's because they're trying to keep us distracted, but
Facts, because you look at it this way, right? There,
yeah.
we struggle as as a people right now with the notion of perceived value versus actual
Mhm.
value,
Yeah.
right? We don't understand what it means to be actually valuable, but we look at something as perceived value. All right, so look at Jordans, right? Jordan sneakers, right? How much is hard cost does it take to make a Jordan sneaker?
Like
It only costs $20, $20, right? So wouldn't you say the value of a Jordan sneaker is $20,
mm-hmm.
right? But now we look at it as perceived value, right? So we
Right.
create the value on top of it. That makes it 200, right? But when it
Mm-hmm.
actually hard costs, the value of actually what it's made from is only $20. So
Right.
you'd get to the point where you see someone would take another human's life for their Jordans. So now you're saying that a human being's life is only actually worth $20, right? Because no matter what you perceive it as, we have to talk about the actual factuals. Actually, factually, the shoe's only worth $20. So we're stooping so low to a point in our perception in this culture that we think that a human being is worth less than $20, right? And when you look at the amount of money that people will give and enslave themselves to a business or work for, they think of themselves as less than $20, right?
Mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
only something that will play out on the macro because in the micro manifestation, it's already something that we need to fix.
Right.
And
I agree.
that's our issue is we don't know how valuable we are because we don't spend time actually making ourselves valuable. Just like I told you earlier, you're a transformer. You have information that can transform someone's life if they just have an ear and can understand the value of it,
That's
right? So
it.
you made yourself a valuable being,
Right.
right? But most
Mm-hmm.
people don't make themselves a valuable being. Most people couldn't transform someone with their knowledge, right? They could only propagate more unnatural confusion, right? Because you look at a salesman is just trying to confuse you. So someone who goes to school to be a salesman, right? They just learned how to just confuse you more than actually transform you into a better being. And that's when you see the matrix that they created. They created a construct that again is evil. It makes you live against yourself. It makes you value things that again aren't valuable. It makes you value things that are evil.
Right. Yo, you know what's so dope though? The conscious people like me and you, the ones that are aware of what's going on, we are like literally the superheroes of our days because it's like when you like literally like that's crazy like because when you watch movies it's like the superheroes only show up when everything is going haywire like
Facts.
like that's crazy.
Facts. Facts. That's why all this stuff is so beautiful. As for as much as like for as much as you can go through the pains that you go through sometimes of being misunderstood, there's so
Mm-hmm.
much beauty that you're afforded because
Right.
just through what you're able to perceive, right? The
Mm-hmm.
fact that you can even see the tree as you or an animal as you, that makes the world so much more beautiful, right? The
That's
fact that I
fact.
can see everyone around me as me, I'm
Mm-hmm.
also granted that beauty because so many people feel so alone, right? They feel isolated, right? And
Yeah.
we sometimes get caught up in the fact that like people don't accept us, but we don't want to be accepted by these people. You want to be accepted by all the things that you see that are beautiful in you that other people don't understand as you, as them, right? Like when I'm walking through the woods, I just be looking around. I feel like home because I see so many reflections of me there. So like the fact that I could see that makes me feel so beautiful, right? And it makes it so much more beautiful to be in that environment
Right.
than just to be looking at it as like, oh, that's just a tree. But it's like, yo, that's a tree. You see this tree? Like, look at this. They're like, yo, you touch it? Oh my God, what's up? Like, that's a difference. Like, that's a
Exactly.
beautiful perspective. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like
And be
yeah,
able
I
to
feel
have
you,
that.
dude. Like they tell us that like the way they put it is like since I was little, you could say like the way they showed us nature and like the way they put things, it was like everything is dead but humans like have no regard for all these other animal lives. But humans are the only important things on this planet. But it's also fucked up because all these, there's like me for instance, every day when I go out in the street, because I don't drive or anything, I don't like taking cars because of all the pollution and whatnot. So I'm always walking and I see plastic on the floor, so I pick it up because I'm like, I have these hands and they're free, so why not? But I also think it's really fucked up how you see these documentaries and whatnot, and it's like all these animals are dying because of our ignorance. It's just really, I don't know, it just really gets me, like it angers me, but it's like all I could do is do all I could do is do my part. And
Facts.
also it's crazy too because when you understand that a tree is conscious, when you understand that that tree is watching you, that tree has feelings, that it could either be afraid of you or love you, you don't want it to be afraid of you. And it's like
Facts.
you understand that it's you too, so why not give it a hug? But like it's crazy. There was one time I was sitting at a park. I was just chilling. I had my shirt off and my and everything except for my pants because I was in a local park and I was just sitting there bumping some music. And I was singing along to the tree and I knew that it was feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just looking around me and then I was looking at the other trees and the animals, and then I started feeling this connection. It was like I was thinking, I was like, yo, everything is energy. So that tree is me and I'm just connected with it. There is no separation between me and that tree. Like I'm inside what that tree is inside. Like I can't be outside of it. And then it kind of got snatched away from me because of the music. But something told me it was like, nah, turn the music off. And I was just observing everything. And I felt this connection with everything. And I was just looking at everything and I was recognizing how it was all me. And I felt like God, like I was looking at everything, even the inanimate objects that didn't have life. I knew that that was me too because the atoms inside had energy in them, and I was just like,
Facts.
and I was just walking around looking at everything, and there was also litter and whatnot, like bad things, and I was just like, damn, like I fucked up, like the way we're living is not right. Like I was like, damn, how did I let it get this far? Like this is crazy.
Facts,
Like
because we all let it get this far because we didn't know. And that's why the key is that once you know yourself and once you start to learn and figure it out who you are and who I am, that we
hmm
get to a place where we we can come together and create an environment that we don't have to deal with these things, right? And
right.
that's how you become the beacon of light. It's not about trying to fix it within someone else's broken. Like if you're in a house and the foundation's crooked, right? No
hmm
matter how much you try and rebuild that house, the house is going to be crooked,
Real shit.
right? So you have to go and put yourself in a place where you can create a strong, balanced, even foundation so that
Right.
everything that builds on top of it is a beautiful expression of the balance and even mind that is there, right? Here, there were so many uneven minds that were here before us, unbalanced beings,
hmm
right? So it's time for us to take claim and take ownership and accountability for this and now create our own expressions of what it's supposed to look like. Feel me? And that's why this movement is beautiful in the way that it is. It's when we finally can detach from this notion of necessity of needing these things, of needing homes, of needing this and needing money, like, and just remember that you already have everything that you need, and get
Exactly.
and grouping up with people that strengthen you, right? Because
Yeah.
you gotta remember, like, all right, when they talk about like Mansa Musa and things of this nature, right, throughout history, even Attila the Hun, even though he was a low frequency ass being, but they had like they had a whole caravan of people, right?
hmm
They had a caravan. They just roll through and go to a certain place, and it was like 20 deep, 30 deep, 40 deep, hundreds deep, right? And just go to a place and they just set up their tents and everything. You think anyone was gonna mess with them at that number?
hmm
Nah, they just let them be. Because it's like when you look at anyone who's like a thief, right? Thieves
Yeah.
don't roll in groups of like four, right? Thieves don't do that. Thieves roll in groups of maybe one or two. But if there are six beings that are out walking around, living free, living in tents, going to place, foraging food, who's gonna stop them? Who stops
That's
that?
real.
No one
That's
could
real.
stop that, right? But it
hmm
takes a certain amount of letting go. That's why detachment is key, and that's why you gotta purify yourself. It's so You got to accept the purification.
Right.
But while you're doing it, keep in mind where you're trying to be at, right? Because no one could when you get enough, like that's why it's about us like conscious beings coming together, right? Because everyone's trying to get too much clout right now. It's not about clout. It's not about
Yeah.
clout. It's about putting out who you are. Like I come
Mhm.
out here so I can share myself, so that I can hopefully, and I will, because I will everything into my existence. I will manifest my soul family, right? So that when
Mhm.
I walk out and I get into that environment, I will have everybody that I need to have. Just like I will be there for someone who needs me. So that we can all start to come together and be free. You know what I mean? And not worry
Yeah.
about, again, like if you're six people who know how to forage food, you're
Mhm.
six people who are conscious beings. You're six people who are artists, right? Because everyone's an artist. They
Yeah.
just have different platforms. Who's
Mhm.
stopping you from doing anything?
Exactly.
No one's stopping you.
Hmm. Except for yourself, honestly, the only
Hey,
person
fact,
stopping you is you. Like real
fact.
shit.
That's a
Yeah.
super fact.
But yeah, and it's crazy too because this earth, it could be a heaven, but it's not meant to be a heaven forever, you know? Like once you reach the tropics and you're like in abundance, the universe lets you indulge in that for a moment, but like this realm is not we're not this like this is why they tell you since you were a little kid. If you do good, you go to heaven and you pass the test. But if you do bad, it's hell for you. So this ground is a testing ground. We're not here to build. Like even if you're trying to live lavishly, you will still be tested. And
Yes.
depending on how you react to that test will determine if you go to heaven or hell. But that's just a mind state. But
When
like
you
that's
look
what
at
people,
look at all these people who have quote unquote riches, right? They have
right.
the wealth of the world, and then it just gets taken away from them, right?
Hmm.
That just shows you exactly what your point was. You know what I mean? Some of these people will
Yeah.
have perceivably everything. They have perceivably all the money, all the fame, all this, all that, right? And at the drop of a hat, the universe will just take all of it,
Right.
right? That's about when you get it, what are you going to do with it? What's it for? What's the purpose? Right? Do you have a purpose for what you're doing? And is your purpose pure? Is your purpose with good intent? Is your purpose meant to like help and is it for the betterment of people around you? Or is it
Hmm.
just to please yourself? Is it just to fulfill your lower natures?
Exactly. And it's like so like I was telling you earlier about how when I was 14 and I had gotten shot, like that moment, like I was just sitting there and I was in excruciating pain. Like I felt the worst pain in my life, you know? But like I
Mhm.
gone through that, so now I could look back and I could look front. And I understand that pain ain't shit. Like that shit will just pass. Like you're just gonna have to go through it and it'll just pass and there'll be better days, you know, like pain ain't shit. Like even though it might hurt, like it's not gonna hurt forever. And so when I had gotten shot after that, like I had all these problems like this I don't want to say diseases, but like illnesses, you know? Because of the
Mhm.
fucking medical system, like that shit ain't right. They're not
Mhm.
healing you. They're putting all this junk inside of you. So I had all these
Facts.
issues, but for some reason, like I've always had this intuition knowledge, you know? Like no one told me, but I
Mhm.
understood that it was all about my mind. So I remember there was this one day when, because I used to take the school bus, but when I prefer walking, so one day I was walking, and then I felt this horrible pain in my knees because I had rheumatoid arthritis, right. So I was
Mhm.
just like fuck, and I just started running, even though it hurt. Like because I wasn't trying to miss the bus because like it hurt, and I couldn't walk home. So, cause my home was like a distance, so I was in the bus
Mhm.
sitting, and the pain was just so terrible, but like I just endured it, and I was using my mind to control the pain because I was understanding that it was just all within me, you know. So I was trying,
Mhm.
there came a moment where the pain was still there, but like it didn't bother me, you know. It was like
Mhm.
you could say that I was outside of my body. I was just observing my body. I was just observing the pain. Like it didn't
Mhm.
phase me. But like it's also fucked up because like they tell you so many things and like they told me all these things on how I wasn't gonna heal and whatnot, but like everything, like I healed from everything. You know, it's like it's really fucked up how they do people. Like they put false fears inside of you. Like me, for instance.
Right.
So when I had gotten shot, it punctured my lung and like I wasn't able to breathe. So I had a tra- I forgot what type of brain injury it was, but I had this brain injury because I mean, my brain wasn't getting any oxygen, and that lasted for like 7 minutes. So that happened, and then once I was leaving the hospital, I went into the meeting with with the doctor, right, and he was telling me about how my brain wasn't gonna heal to 100%, like 90 or something. I was just like, what the fuck, you stupid as fuck. Like, nah, bro, I'm gonna heal all the way. Like he was telling
Good.
me this shit, and I was just like, nah, that's stupid as fuck. But like now, as I look back, like I didn't even heal to 100%, but it's like 120, 30, you know, like like
Facts.
you can't be putting limits on yourself. Like you can't say 100, like for example, how they be saying that our brains are not at the 100% capacity. We're only using our brains at 10%, but it's like,
You do
nigga, the
use
brain
100% of
is,
your brain. You do
yeah,
use
that too,
100% of your
that
brain.
too, but it's like that too, but it's like your brain is not just 100%. That shit is limitless, like
Facts.
100%, because it's not a software. Like it
Uh-huh.
doesn't have a certain gigabyte. You know, like it's just infinite. You just keep going. So
Mm-hmm.
that's like a mean trick too. Like you can't put limits because once you think you could only use 100% of your brain, and then you feel like you've gotten to 100% of your brain. You're like, yes, I did it, and you don't really try to grow no more. You know?
Facts. That's
So
because we live in a society of expectations.
right.
We have to start to just break down expectation in general, right? Just like when we look at certain things, you expect certain things out of that instead of being open. The more you're open to like infinite possibility, that's why that's the key. The key is to keep your mind and your mind's eye open to infinite possibility at all times, right? Because
Right.
I'll match you with this because just when I got back, literally I had a karmic moment that's part of the reason why I'm still here when I got back into this reality. Right? I
Uh-huh.
slammed my head on this pole and I went unconscious. And someone called the ambulance, all this without me knowing. So I woke up in a hospital bed and they
Damn.
were like, "You fractured your skull." Number one, they were trying to cut my hair and I wasn't gonna let them have it because right before they did that, they said, "Well, luckily because my hair locked up in the back, like all this, like my hair is actually like long, like down to like my chest, but it
Yeah.
all locked up while I was out in the tropics. Like this is all just locks. That's why it moves the way it does, right? But they were like, "Yo,
Oh,
you're lucky this saved you," and I was like, "Damn." So they were like,
yo.
you're gonna need." They would say you're gonna be in a dark room for at least 3 months, at least, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? I was like, no. So I came back. They were like, you got to eat this diet. You got to do this. Literally, I just had water and mangoes. I remember for the first 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
By 5 weeks, I was up walking around. By 7 weeks, I was normal,
Damn,
fine,
man.
100% fine. And I was just like, this is, but you gotta remember that yeah, the medical system doesn't focus on healing the body, just treats symptoms and creates unhealthy dependency. Yes, because you gotta remember that the perspective that they're trying to heal you from is a sick perspective. Their perspective on nutrition isn't a healthy perspective. You feel me? The perspective that they're trying to use while they're trying to heal you, that would take that long. You know what I mean? It does take so long for your body to regenerate when you're doing so much against your body because your body's not getting sustenance. When you're eating proper and you're thinking proper and you're
Yeah,
living in a proper environment and you're doing all these things, your body is limitless, right? Just like you said,
yeah,
infinite possibility.
exactly. Hmm. Oh,
Fact.
yeah.
That's a fact.
Oh,
This is
yeah,
this
but
is a
like,
young ass light being right here.
yeah.
Kevin,
Yo,
yeah,
that's
he's speaking
crazy,
fact.
huh? That's like really crazy how your hair saved you, you know? Like that's how you know it's
Fact.
facts that like it's already facts that we're supposed to grow our hair, but like this just goes to show that when we created this avatar, we put our hair for a reason. A natural
Mm-hmm.
it's like a natural helmet as well because you do know that your hair is like made up of mostly metals. It's not It's not a hard helmet, but it's still a helmet, you know. But
No,
like
because when it naps up, like once your hair naps up and you touch it, you feel it's like a cushion, right? Like in my back of my head, it feels like a cushion, like a pad. That's why they
yeah,
call your crown like a crown. A crown is made of like a crown is metal, you know what I mean? But a
yeah,
crown is hard. But you got to see like when they show you a picture of a crown, there's also fabric on the crown too, right? So
hmm,
you got this like lit crown on your head. That's what it's here for. It's here to protect and encase
yeah,
and to help project your frequency and pull in your frequency as well. The hair is a beautiful thing that we don't understand the purpose of as a collective, but as conscious
exactly.
beings who understand it, that's
Hmm.
why we get to the points that we get,
We
right?
do.
That's why people who actually understand what the technologies of the body are end up being able to adopt and create certain realities for themselves
Right.
once you use it properly and you don't attach yourselves to any of these things that are looking to keep you away and keep you from actualizing and understanding your truth and who you truly are,
Right.
right? Because we all are divine, so divine, divinity, right?
Yes.
And that's what makes it sad. That's what makes it the most sad is trying to when you're trying to do things to show people their divinity and you're speaking life into someone else's divinity, and that's when they're casting you aside. Feel me? But that's why you always gotta be rooted and know you have reflections, right? There's so many reflections out here. That's one of the most beautiful things about being on this frequency as well. Is the
Yeah.
beautiful amount and amazing amount of reflections out here that are
Hmm.
always preaching and speaking life into you. When you know
Right.
how to use that properly and know how to perceive properly, you have everything you need. We're in abundance in so many different ways.
Hmm. It's just really crazy. Like once you start understanding everything, you compare your past life, not that's existent, to the present, right? And it's like even though I'm still in Babylon and I haven't gone where I'm gonna go, yo, this is still a heaven. Like compared to where I
Mhm.
how I used to live, like this
Facts.
is a blessing and whatnot. But like yeah, also it's crazy because like your hair, that shit also when you grow it out, it also expands your magnetic spectrum and like the energies
Uh-huh.
that come to you. It's like for me, for instance, me, there was this one day I was talking to this lady and she wasn't even standing that close to me. She just came barely close to me and I was already able to feel her energy, yo, and I was just like, damn, what the fuck? Like that's crazy.
Mhm.
But like yeah,
Makes
but
you
it's
sensitive to the environment. You'll see when
mm,
you get down to the tropics, you could feel things. Like you'll be able to feel things moving around you through your hair. It's
yeah,
like it's some next level type stuff. Like once you just
exactly.
allow it to be and you let it do its thing, you let your hair like just express itself and do what it's gonna do, it ends up just like rewarding you. You get rewarded with these little subtleties.
Exactly. This consciousness shit has us excited to be human because we're
Hmm.
understanding we're not human, we're God, like
Facts.
such an amazing
Well,
time to be alive. But
facts. The
we've
fractals
always
of
been
God.
we've always been alive though. Never have we not been alive. Like that's crazy too. But it's also crazy how the scientists of Babylon will go out to nature and they'll study all these animals and they come back with their research and they'll hype it up like, damn, yo, like, did you see this animal? He got this dope ass skin that changes color. This animal got this dope hair that protects him from this, and that. This animal needs can't can't cover its genitals for whatever reason. But then they come to us and they're like, oh nah, bro, you can cut your hair, you can cover your skin, like none of that matters. So like it's just
Facts,
so
because they don't understand themselves. They see us as different. We see ourselves as a construct instead of seeing ourselves as natural, organic beings.
damn.
We see ourselves as a construct, because we act like aliens. That's why we see ourselves as aliens. Like, how many times you hear people talking about trying to leave Earth and go to Mars, right? So, like, you already see that people's mindset and what they view themselves as isn't an organic being that's like natural to this environment. We see ourselves as aliens because we eat like aliens, we act like aliens, we act the way an alien would act if it just showed up here, right? If there was an alien from another planet just got plopped into onto Earth and it never like heard of Earth before or anything, this is how they would probably live. I mean, like
Right.
we're not living like natural beings, but everything tells us we're natural beings. We try and say, like, you look at the sickness of like philosophies, and you see that they'll try and tell you that you evolved from a monkey, but then you don't eat like a monkey. How you gonna
Oh,
tell me that I evolved from a monkey, but then you tell me that I can't eat like a monkey, right? If I evolved from it, shouldn't I eat exactly like it? But they're gonna
exactly.
tell you nah. They're gonna tell you to eat like a lion. How you gonna tell me that I evolved from a monkey if you're gonna tell me to eat like a lion?
Right.
Yo, something's backwards out here. Yo, something's so backwards out
Living backwards, but that's just evil, evil shit, bro.
here. Facts.
But
The
but like,
evil.
it's crazy, yo. Like, cause me, when I first started awakening, I was reading biology, and I was like reading about all these things, and I would read, and this was when I was in my study hall, and once I got done reading, a friend would come to me, and I would like, cause he would eat meat, right, and I would try to enlighten him, and I was like, bro, you know that our closest primates, or the closest species to our species, are gorillas, and like they don't eat meat. All they eat is these fruits, and they have the same digestive system of us as us. And I was telling them how our digestive system takes like 48 whole hours to digest food. So I was telling them, like, think about it. If you put meat that is cooked in a wet, warm place for 48 hours and you come back to it and you open that shit, how does it smell? He was like, that shit stinks like that. And I was like, bro, so why are you doing that to your body? But then it's so fucked up because people be like, I can't leave meat. I just love eating meat. But it's like, how are you gonna? It's crazy too because people don't peep that when you're putting meat in your body, you're putting death in your body because that's all meat is. It has no life. The When you killed the animal, the life was taken away from it. And don't your cells also die when you die? Right?
Facts.
Yeah, like damn, like that's just all death. Like you're putting death inside of you. And it's so crazy, yo. Like
Well, because
the
we put
like
spells on ourselves. You hear how many
right,
people say they can't. See
right.
how like that's why etymology in your mouth was made to create and help manifest your reality. That's why when you want to help people and you want to change the world, you get onto this and you speak the knowledge that you speak,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because your mouth creates reality. So
For sure.
like the more you hear people saying they can't do this and I could never and it's hard, the more I say something's hard, it's gonna be hard because I'm already gonna perceive it as hard. So every problem that comes up in it, I'm gonna think it's a hard ass problem.
Mm-hmm.
Even if like if I set up and I was like, yo, addition is mad hard, bro. Addition's so hard. It's like you asked me 1 plus 1, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, I don't know. Because I've been psyching my mind up. I've been
Exactly.
manifesting how hard this is gonna be. So the
Yeah.
second I get it, I'm gonna think about more of what I can't do and how much I gotta think about it and all this instead of thinking like, damn, nothing really is that hard. Right? Nothing, everything is what it needs to be. And I just leave the expectation open, leave the expectation out of it, and just accept what comes to you and know that you can overcome anything. Because as long as you're willing to will it into existence, you can do anything you will. But it's
Right.
about should you always. And that's our problem as
Right.
well. It's about
We need
can you
morals and
and
principles.
should you. Exactly. That's why
Right.
morals and principles are so key.
Right.
Morals and principles are so key because that's going to keep you on the path. It's going to keep you from trying to create and manifest and do all these things to things that you shouldn't be
You
because
know, it's
can
crazy.
and should are very
Right.
important.
Right. We should respect all life and honor it because all life is sacred. But yo, it's crazy.
Hey, the laws of my art. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Exactly. It's crazy because doing the right thing is hard. But if you could
Mhm.
go through that hardness at the end, it's gonna be easy as shit. Like it's hard in the beginning, but like like you'll think about it like if I want to get something, like you know what, I could just go and steal it and that'd be so much easier. So this was me in my beginning, when I was listening to the 42 laws of Ma'at and whatnot, and I was thinking, I was like, I'm trying to steal this and that, right? And I was thinking, I was like, nah, bro, like I'm over here because I was at the park. Because every day when I started listening to the 42 Laws of Ma'at, I would go every day to the park and listen to it. And I was thinking, and I was also listening to the 42 Laws of Ma'at, and I was like, nah, because what I was actually trying to do was I was because when I started awakening, I was like rejected, from my family and everything, and everyone was disowning me. So like I had to look after myself. So I was, and one of the things, like when I was 12 years old, I used to sell these candies for $5, and I made a lot of money. So I was thinking, yo, I could just go do that. Like I could just go to the store because I don't have no money. I could just go and rob the candies and sell it. And then I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. That's not the right thing. And I'm like on this path, no matter what happens, I just know that the universe is gonna take care of me, and I had faith in the universe. And I was just sitting there chilling, and I was like, damn, that sucks. And then out of nowhere, this thought came to me, and I was like, oh shit, that $10 gift card that my dad had gave me is under the bed. And I took it and I went and I bought candy. And because I bought like 10 pieces of candy for $10, and then I sold each piece of candy for $5. So I took $10 and I made it to $40, and then
Hmm.
that's what happened. But it was all because
Because you were
I
patient and you
exactly
waited and you didn't jump. You
right.
honored
Like
virtue.
that that shit was crazy, yo. Like I was just amazed. I was just like, cause that was the first thing, like that was the first thing that something like that happened to me. So it was so amazing.
Facts. But you always get those things. 'Cause I always say it like this.
That's
Like
true
when
too.
I think about it like this, when you're trying to live truth and you're walking on your path,
Hmm.
like things are hard, but they're not hard in the same way. Because before, when you were asleep, it was hard because you didn't know what the heck was going on. You were so reactionary. But like once you got the controller in your hands, it's just like a video game. Like some parts are hard, but it's not as hard once you get to certain levels of the game because you actually know how to work the controller now. So like I can kind of minimize damage. Where in the beginning, when you were asleep, it was like, damn, I don't know the buttons. I got mad dudes coming out here. They're doing this. I don't know what I can do. Or so it's a different type of hard because you're at least in control now. Feel me? You're
Right.
always in
Exactly.
control. So now that you are conscious, that just means I'm in control. I got the controller now. So how can you move with
Right.
the controller?
Exactly. That's
You,
that's so
and I'm
real
proud of you.
too. It's like, thank you, reflection.
Fact, I'm proud of myself. I love
Mhm.
myself, man. I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. Right?
Thank you,
That's a
reflection.
divine
I'm
move of you.
thankful.
You feel me?
I love myself too, but I know that you're a reflection of me. Like I know that I'm
Fact.
speaking to myself. Real shit, real shit. Fuck. I just forgot what I was about to say. Damn. Yo. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So like life is really symbolic to a video game. Like this life we're living in, it is a video game. But the thing
Facts.
about it is you just get one life, and it depends on what you do it. You don't get one life, you get infinite lives. But it's not like a video game where you keep restarting, you keep getting back to where you were at. But it's like that how you played that game when you had that life determines how your next life is gonna be. If it's gonna be
Fact.
harder or it's gonna be easier.
Hmm.
But like,
That's a fact.
yeah.
It's like when you play like I don't know when you play World of Warcraft, right? You start the game, you get all these little things, these level ups during the game. You get new
Yeah.
armor, I get new boots, I get this, I get this. I level up, I learn new techniques, I do all this thing. That's why one of the most like mind blowing things is when Master Teacher breaks down how you are your cell phone, right? You are
Yeah.
your cell phone because you
Right. It's just
download
a
applications
broadcast.
like you learn new things, right? I learn new
Mhm.
things, same thing as downloading that.
Exactly. Like once you peep all these things, once you peep that you living right now, you're building your next life, you're not gonna want to do bad because you're understanding that you're making your next life, and you're gonna forget about this life. So it's just gonna be harder. But that's because you're reincarnating, but you could also ascend,
Ooh, that's
right?
deep. Keep going.
Because once you get in tune and you are living like a god, there is no need for you to reincarnate because you have learned all your lessons. So
Mhm.
you ascend. But can you tell me what then?
But
What
then it
then?
becomes you get to return to the oneness, and only very
Uh,
few get to that point. You
right.
know what I
Real
mean?
shit.
Like
Yeah, I
when you
do.
get to when you get to that point where you vibrate and you ascend out of this, you get to finally return back to you,
Right,
right?
exactly.
In your
Yeah.
purest form. And that's
Real
what you're
shit.
looking for, to finally connect back to the ultimate puzzle piece.
Right. And I could agree with that too because of that experience I had and what I got to feel, you know? Like it was like a light. There was no form, but it was speaking to me, but it was me. Like that. It's like it doesn't judge you, yo. Like it's accepting you. It's like, yo, you can stay or you could go, but you judge yourself and you're like, nah, man, I gotta go back. But like, what I realize is, like, I already told you, but like, I'm not here to live my any karma, you know. I'm here because I'm here to raise the vibration of the collective frequency. Like that's what
Right.
I'm here to do, and that's what I'm doing.
You're here to bear the light. You're here to shed your
Exactly.
light. You're here to
Yeah.
be exactly what the book spoke about. You know what I
Facts.
mean? You're here to make sure for the people that are gonna vibrate to you. Because think about how young you are, right? Think about how many people that you still have yet to meet. Think about how many
Facts,
people that you
yo.
still have yet to come across. So the more that you can continue to empower yourself and keep yourself understanding of yourself and
Right.
keep this power, right?
Right.
And keep that beautiful mindset that you have, you're
Mhm.
only gonna add more value onto the world.
That's
And you
real.
just gotta continue to share your value because you're
Fact.
valuable. Don't ever let anyone tell you you're not valuable or make you question how valuable you are
Right.
because you know how valuable you are.
Right. That's real. That's real. Like I don't even know if I use valuable, you know, because I don't even put a limit to what I am. Like I'm beyond that, you know, like that's just how I feel. Like these words, like they're just here. Like I know how valuable I am, but I don't use valuable. You can't. So you can't. If I don't use a word, you can't tell me that I'm not valuable because I don't use that
That
word. But I'm understanding and I know.
you
Hmm.
just are.
Yeah, exactly. You just are. That's deep. Like perfect. Hmm.
Reflection. This was an amazing build.
It was, wasn't it?
Facts. Facts. Oh shit. Damn.
Damn, I
I,
wonder how long this has been.
I don't know. It's been just as long as it need to have been, bro. As
Right.
long as it needs to have been reflection. I love myself.
I love my self reflection. It's
I'm gonna
been,
too. We're gonna, huh?
huh?
How long has it been? So you just
Oh,
about to tell me?
I don't know. I didn't see. Oh, they're about to tell you. But it's been nothing because there's no
Facts.
time. We've just been speaking in
Perception.
the moment. Yeah,
Facts.
yeah,
100% channeling back and forth.
yeah.
Facts.
Like real
Reflect.
shit, real shit. Like time, that shit was made by other men to control men. Like with time,
That's
there's a schedule, right? There's a schedule. You're like, oh, I think master teacher covered on this, but it's like, oh, it's 9 o'clock. I gotta go eat. It's 12 o'clock. I gotta go to work. So time is literally telling you what to do.
facts.
Like,
Because it made the schedule. Because you started to create a schedule once you understood time.
right, real shit. Like,
And that's the problem. That's the
right,
problem. Constructs. That's why it's our job to just break constructs. As
facts.
many constructs as we can break, and we can start to redefine. And that's what the age of Aquarius is about. The age of Aquarius is about redefining all the things that we've tried to define, but we've messed up. Right?
Right.
There's a lot of things that haven't properly been defined. So the job of us open-minded beings in this time is to redefine all these different things that are coming up. Is to redefine time, to redefine what's valued, to redefine what this environment is, to redefine your purpose as a human being,
Right.
right? And to actually get closer to the truth, to get closer to the all, right?
Mm-hmm. That's really real because that is what's happening. It's not expanding. Everything is contracting. Everything is becoming one. And yeah, like that's literally what I once I started becoming awoke, I started seeing all these things and I'm just like, yo, someone gave me this language. And also it's um like I love boxing. Like I
Hmm.
used to I don't even know. Like, cause I see boxing. Well, not even boxing. I don't even know like my fighting style or whatever. Like, I see it as a dance. You know, like I'm not I'm not a violent person. Like, I wouldn't harm someone. Like, I would let you harm me, but I understand I'm not trying to be you, so I'm gonna let you do you because I'm not trying to match your frequency. Like, I was understanding this last night when my father was arguing with me, and I was thinking arguing back with him, but I was like, nah, but that'd be wrong because I'm seeing that he's wrong. So why would I get on his level when I'm wrong, you know? But
Facts. You
like,
have to just
yeah,
take the high road. Once you become aware, you can see how people's emotions are working. And it's about you to just stay cool and calm. That's why the burden is on the conscious being, right? If you're conscious of your feelings and your emotions, the burden's on you to be able to like keep your composure,
hmm,
right? And
yeah,
again, that's where you always have to try and put yourself in an environment that's conducive for you, right?
exactly, yeah. Yo, so
So we,
one of the reflections asked, he was like, tell me this. So if the basis of life was taught, then do you guys think that we could remember other people by their unique energy signatures? But I'm also thinking like, yes, this is why there's soulmates, and this is
mhm,
why me and Jew just clicked and we just communicated. One is because we were on the same frequency, but like that's how energy
facts.
works. We travel. That's how it works. Like we travel in groups, you know. So like we came here together.
Facts.
Yo, we came here
Facts.
together, but we're just we're just meeting back up, you know.
Facts. Because I like you always because you always also see like when you remember like have you ever just like we talked about earlier, right? Like when you empty your cup, you get people that remind you of something that was in your cup but at a different level of it
Right.
as well. So
Hmm.
like you have soul family that you're just waiting to connect with. Like you look at us like we just talked for the first time today, right?
Yeah.
That's a soul family moment where you could just link in. So that's like there was definitely a energy signature that
Right.
was connecting and linked, right? But then you have when someone transitions out of your life, whether it be for the ultimate transitioning or you just grow past them. You always have that energy play itself out again, but in a more conducive being for your mindset at that time.
Right.
And because
That's
you're never alone. You always bring in exactly what you need.
you're never lonely. You're never lonely, but you could be alone.
Fact. That's a
You could be
fact.
alone, but you're never lonely because it's
Ooh.
all connected as one.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I like that. That was lit.
Right.
That was lit. Ensure that they are never
And it's
forgotten.
like the word alone has one in it, you know? And it's like sometimes you need to be alone to understand yourself. There's a
Facts.
difference between being lonely and being alone. Being alone is
Or
a choice. Being lonely is something that gets put onto you, but truly it's not getting put onto you because you decided. So damn, it's like
fact.
there is no such thing as I don't even know no more. Like
Well,
also
because
is
we
that
look at it being alone, like okay, because you could be lonely around a bunch of people if
mm-hmm.
they don't if you're
Yeah,
on like a you're have you been that before? Every person who's conscious has felt that before.
right,
You've
that's
been in
real.
a room of people and you feel like you're the only one who like understands things the way that you do, right? So
That's
there's
real.
like there are different forms of it, right? But alone, I feel like when you're alone, if you're like, yo, I'm alone right now, like you did that on your own. You know what I mean?
And it's like
Because at certain times, like you need a break because when you talk to certain people, right, they're giving you their thought frequency all the time,
right,
right?
yeah.
And certain people have thought frequencies that you don't need
Mm-hmm.
around you all the time that are not conducive for your mind. They put you at disease,
Right.
right? In a
Mhm.
sense, right? They put your body and mind at a place where you're uncomfortable and confused. So you need to get alone time so you can recollect your thoughts and recollect your being and make sure that you have yourself together.
Right. That's real. And that's why it is really crucial how they say that isolation oh shit. They say that isolation is key because it really is key. You need to understand yourself, better yourself before you could
Facts.
understand this world, where you play, what part you play, and how you're gonna
Mhm.
make the change. Because we all have these astrological energies, and it's like everybody makes a change in a different way. Everybody has an
Facts.
ability to make a change, and everybody is making a change. From the cancer cells to the immune cells, they show us what not to do. We show them what to do. But everything and everything is happening for a reason. It's all
Facts.
happening in divine timing.
Mhm. Facts. 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 Super facts reflection. Super
Right.
fact on that.
Hmm.
I'm about to log out. Reflection.
All right, all right,
It was a beautiful divine bill with you, my friend.
right. Truly
We need
was.
to get on this again. I'm gonna make sure I reach out to you, and we're gonna get on a couple more of these together again. 'Cause
Yeah, real shit.
this was amazing. This is amazing. I love
Agreed.
myself.
I love myself. Reflection, peace and love, peace and love.
Peace and love, Sam.
Yeah.